The niggas that you don't want to argue with laughing with you. You don't want to argue with that.
Who don't want to argue with who?
All y'all. You don't argue with that. After you show mad, you don't argue with that. And you
stop painting this narrative that me and Mark is running from the smoke with each other. I'm a grown up.
You are. You are.
Every week.
No, y'all don't. No, y'all don't.
You know what I mean?
You tippy-toe around that.
And I toe around him too.
No, he tippy-toe around you. He don't want to hurt your feelings for you to catch the tissy fish.
Ish gets confronted for being scared of Marc Lamont Hill on the Joe Budden podcast. For those of you that don't know, ever since his arrival on the Joe Budden podcast, Ish has been one of the most argumentative figures of the show's history. This guy will debate if the sky is blue. And when Marc Lamont Hill arrived, there was a lot of clashes early on.
What scientists in to say that black people were inferior to white people.
The science that you're talking about, phrenology, which is the sort of early. Am I wrong? Did I say something wrong?
No, you're saying a whole bunch of words to say ish. You're right. They did have scientists that came in and said a bunch of bullshit.
Can I respond? Because you said to let you finish, and then you started rolling your eyes. It turned red.
And those clashes would lead to Ish being exposed as a barbershop scientist. Well, since then, Ish hasn't really been going at Mark, and the two seem to be in peace, with Mark not really pressing the issue. And the person who would point that out is none other than Queensflip. Now, Queensflip is someone who doesn't mind arguing even if he doesn't get the best of an argument. I mean, this guy is like a bull in a china shop. He's willing to lose an argument just to get entertainment or just to have some fun or make things interesting. But now Flip is pointing out that, hey, Ish and Marc Lamont Hill is no longer an argument you see often, with Marc Lamont Hill taking it off the brakes. Like, he never goes 100 miles per hour like he used to when he did the whole flat earth thing and the proximity to whiteness with Trump. He just fell all the way back. But if you look at the whole podcast, it looks to me like Marc Lamont Hill is treating everybody like that. For example, Marc Lamont Hill has been on record saying that he doesn't go at ICE. And if you notice, Mark has been dialing it back when it comes to Melissa Ford. Now, that could be because it is in Mark's interest as someone who is a bit of a woman panderer to take the brakes off of Melissa Ford, because he can't go all the way with Melissa Ford. Like, he'll go at the dudes a little bit more because it aligns with his, public facing persona. But I think once he started to really expose Melissa Ford, he fell all the way back. And then there's Imani. Now, Imani did throw that object at Mark, so I do think that might end how much Mark goes at Imani, because that was Mark's attention signal, like, oh, Imani doesn't like this. It was a heavy-handed bat signal, like, stop, lay off me. But we also have to look at how Mark don't really go at Joe like that. Like, he'll make a comment from time to time, but he kind of lets Joe be who Joe is. And is it because Mark is a cold office tactician who knows that the rank and file employees are the ones that should be targeted? Or is he just having fun? I think it's more of the Mark knows where his bread is buttered, so he's going to leave Joe Budden alone. And I also think that he knows that he needs to leave Ish alone, because Ish is the type that will quiet up, go into his shell. Now, prior to Mark's arrival, he really didn't have to be concerned with losing an argument too much. The only person who could soundly defeat him is Joe Budden, and that was only because he was the host of the show and he was able to say things like, oh, you're slowing down the podcast. Oh, our audience doesn't care about this. But prior to Mark's arrival, Ish would defeat Joe in a lot of debates. However, when Mark got there, oh my God, it's like Mark was just violating him left and right. And the reason why the Mark and Ish exchanges are so crazy is because, like, Ish has won a couple arguments against Mark, I think, especially about the whole housing vouchers and like the housing stuff, that when they debate on it, But the thing is, when Mark wins, it's by like 30, 40, 50 points. And when Ish wins, it's by like 2. And the wins come few and far between. We will have to see if Ish changes his whole trajectory when it comes to Mark. I do think he has a crazy ego. So he's going to fall all the way back and leave it alone. And that's why you see Ish go long periods of not speaking. Many believe that one of the worst kept secrets of the show is that Ice actually isn't the most sensitive podcaster on the show. It's actually Ish, because Ish will sit there and pout and not speak. And it got so bad one time that Joe had to confront Ish about the way he goes about not participating.
You have sat here for the past 3 weeks looking like grumpy stupid in the face.
No, I have not. That's not true.
You
Stop
are grumpier.
reading. Yo, you need to stop
I'm never
reading.
going to stop reading anything.
All right, well, cool.
It's the job to read
All right,
things.
cool. You're right.
What I'm saying to you is,
make your own assessment.
Maybe you don't know.
Make your own assessment.
You are grumpier. I think that you've treated unfairly up here.
And the funny thing is, Ish didn't only do that with Marc Lamont Hill. There was also a time with Melissa Ford where he didn't speak to her. So this guy's just pouty. He's a bit of an issue, and time will reveal if he's ready to go at Marc Lamont Hill at the expense of his ego. Also, there's a lot of interesting things going on with Ish on the show. He's apparently going to speak at InvestFest, and boy, let's watch that, because if he speaks at InvestFest and there's footage, the show is going to make that into a bit. And I foresee Ish not wanting to engage in that at all. He's going to be on some like, oh, I don't even think that's funny. I think you messing with my brand and my reputation. I don't even know about why you're doing that. But the show is the show, and Joe is going to make that a moment. I think the underlining thing of the people who are on Joe's pod, who used to be his friends, is that it's often hard to gauge what level of friendship that they still have. You can be friends with someone for 20, 15, 10 years, but within 2 or 3 years, maybe even less, that friendship can deteriorate to the point where you don't even know how connected you are. Like, you might just be coworkers at a certain point if you end up working together. And I think that is what is at the core of Joe and Ish's tension and time at the show. Is like, yes, these guys were thick as thieves once upon a time, but there's been a series of incidents where they didn't speak for years and cut each other off, and their personas and personalities often clash to the point where they don't even seem like they really like each other. Like, Ish looks down on Joe's lifestyle and all of that jazz. But we will have to see how it all plays out. Now, kudos to Queen's Flip for pointing out what is abundantly obvious. And I mean, Queen's Flip is also another interesting character because, yes, he is someone that is willing to go at people, but he is also someone who puts up a lot of don't go there, please don't bring this up, don't do that. And he doesn't necessarily respect the boundaries of others, but he doesn't want his boundaries pushed, because I could make the case that even Flip don't really go at Mark like he used to. Yes, there was a couple times that he did, but there's been also a couple times where I feel like old Flip would have taken it all the way. And to me, Flip has silently quit at times as well. I don't think he's had any really great moments. And I mean, he's being sent home for interviews. He's being asked to change up. And I think when Ian was reaching out to Flip to kind of change his approach, that's when Flip was like, all right, I'm going to try to change, but I'm really not going to be who I am just to stay on the show as long as I can. And that's the problem with the JBP, is like nobody wants to leave. Everybody there is staying. And I don't know how Joe is going to approach that conversation. Like, I feel like it's obvious that Joe is just hoping that people just leave instead of him having to fire them. And because apparently he says, or that article said, he pays a really high salary. I don't know how true that is, but it might be true because everybody's just staying. Melissa Ford, Flip, Ish talk about how bad it is and how tough it is, but they don't leave. So if it's that bad, why are you staying? And yeah, who is going to be the first to leave? I've been wondering that question for some time. And I think that there's two factors to that. Everybody's being paid decently. And I also think that the Joe Budden podcast doesn't have a strategy for letting people go because of the wounds that never healed from Rory and Mal. All right, y'all, that's my video for now. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. And make sure you follow me on Patreon. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.